Will Ripley here. In this video, I want to share with you a really musical and expressive way to learn and play your pentatonic scales for your rock and blues guitar soloing. You're going to see here really quickly that the traditional way in which we learn these pentatonic scales is musically flawed, and I think I got a better way. All right, so first up, let's count how many notes are in this scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 notes, but isn't that the A minor pentatonic scale? Pentatonic, meaning a 5-note scale? Well, yes, so isn't there a more musical way to learn this scale to help you with your rock and blues solos? Well, of course there is, and I'm going to show you. So let's just look at these notes first. We've got A, C, D, E, and G. And then, of course, the scale pattern repeats in an octave. So we've got, starts there at that A note, up to C, D, E, G. And then we've got another kind of like almost halfway up. So we work through this scale 2.5 times. Now, there's definitely a more musical way to approach this. Check this out. Let's actually learn a true pentatonic scale in a more musical way, because if we start jamming on this, we're not really going to find too many hot soloing licks in that little zone. So now when it comes to playing some rock licks and some cool solos, what you're going to want to do is focus on this little sequence right here. But rather than playing this E note, what we're going to do is we're going to slide up to this E note. Okay, so we're going to start on the 5th and 7th fret of the D, 5th and 7th of the G string. We're going to move up 2 frets to the 9th fret of the G. What that does for us is we're starting our pentatonic scale on a G note, but we're still playing those same 5 notes. We're going G, A, C, D, and E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm going to have a quick rip over a jam track using just these 5 notes in this particular sequence. You're going to hear how this simple pattern can sound really musical. Here we go. Now, if you caught the video on my channel last week, the best blues guitar solo, we were talking about that exact same pattern, but in a different key. And really, you can even focus on these 4 notes. And what you can do is then just throw in 2 main things, technique and phrasing. So, of course, I'm doing slides, I'm doing vibrato, okay? You can also, rather than sliding into that note on the 9th fret of the G, you can bend into it. Right? You can do some little micro bends. And all those vibrato techniques and things. So techniques is a big one. But also there's phrasing, which is basically having space between some of my notes and creating a melody. Okay, so technique and phrasing. That's really more so what's going to make you play some awesome hot solos, is technique and phrasing, rather than focusing on a million notes all over the fretboard and learning all your modes and on and on and on. So let's go ahead and expand this. Now, as we saw already, we found an A note here, but we also found an A note here. So we're working in octaves. So that shape right there is just kind of a must-know little pattern. So 2 frets up, 2 strings over, we find an octave, okay? So that being said, let's go down here. Let's find the low section of this pentatonic 5-note scale, okay? So as you know, when we were approaching this A note, we started 2 frets lower on that 5th fret. Okay? And again, if you don't have that down, you just want to like get that down. And you can hear just jamming on that. Just the melodies start popping out, right? And that will really help you with that aspect of phrasing. So let's go down an octave. We're going to approach this root note, this A note, 5th fret of your low E string. Just like we approach this A note, we're approaching it 2 frets below. Getting that real, like, just bluesy rock sound. Okay, so we're going 3rd fret to 5th fret. We're going to do the exact same pattern. Remember, we did 2 notes on one string and then 3 notes on the other? Well, we're going to do that exact same thing starting from here. So 2 notes and then 3 notes. Okay, so go ahead and just warm up on that. And you just probably are going to notice yourself, you just can't help but the melodies to pop out at you. You can see I'm scattering the notes. You don't have to go all the way up and all the way down. You can scatter the notes. Okay, so that's sounding pretty good. Now, what you're going to see here is that we're able to link these 2 sequences, these 2 5-note scales, with, of course, our first one, and the second one, they're right next door to each other. So if you start down here, well, you can bump right into the next one. So let's go ahead and have a little jam on this little section of the guitar. All right, so that sounded pretty good, right? Sounded pretty musical. Way better than if we were to try to play a solo using this traditional minor pentatonic scale that I'm sure you know, I'm sure you've been taught, and if you haven't learned that, it will be one of those kind of must-know scales, because it is great, it is fantastic, but we're finding a much more musical way to approach these 5 notes. So we've got this so far. We've got 2 notes on one string, 3 notes on the other, 2 notes on one string, 3 notes on the other. Well, we could do the exact same thing in this next octave. So the guitar is a little bit confusing, if you haven't noticed already, because as we go through the strings, we've got this octave shape. But if you were to do an octave shape from here, that same kind of formula that I showed you, 2 frets up and 2 strings over, we get this really dissonant sound. Well, darn it, right? I thought we figured it out. Well, that works great for these 2 strings. You can find octaves really easy on the E string and A string by doing that shape. But when you go to the D string, what you want to do is just go up 1 fret. It's just the way the guitar is tuned. That B string just gets a special 1 fret treatment. So you've got your A note on the 7th fret of the D string and your B string on the 10th fret, that's also an A note. And of course, you can just use your ear. We've got that sound and that sound. The exact same note, just 1 octave higher, okay? So there's an A note, 10th fret of the B string. Great. Let's go ahead and find that exact same 5-note pentatonic sequence, starting 2 frets lower than our root note on that G note. So we're going G, A, and exactly like the other 2 shapes, we're going to go 2 notes on one string and 3 notes on the other. Okay, so. And again, that little sequence in the way that I'm laying it out for you here, the melodies and the phrasing just start popping out. All right, so if those melodies are popping out at you and you're already seeing the power in this 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 sequence. And how musical this is sounding already? Well, go ahead and smash that like button for me. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. I'm getting busy on this channel finally, and I am producing content like a madman. So definitely stay in the loop. Would love to hear from you, by the way. Leave a comment below before you head out. Also, I have included the jam track and the resource material for this, so you can have all of these scales. I'm gonna throw in a bonus scale for you as well. And also, as mentioned, the full-fledged jam track so you can put this to work. This is something I recorded here at the Mount Rushmore Studios. That's my band, by the way, Mount Rushmore. And also, I wanted to introduce you to something that's really special right now is I've got a 6-course package. So I recorded 6 full-fledged courses with Jamplay and TrueFire. And what those are, they are in-depth courses, everything from acoustic to blues to different stages of rock to in the style of Slash to rock and roll theory. And we've bundled all these courses up, and you can buy all of them for over 50% off. So make sure you check that out. That's an awesome opportunity and something that's just a steal of a deal, and will just cover the whole gamut of rock and blues and acoustic for you. So let's go ahead. Let's try this one more time. We're gonna put it to the jam track, and then you can get to work on this and download the resource materials yourself and have a good time with it. So here's what we did. We started right inside of our classic minor pentatonic scale. So we've got this guy. So that's, of course, super essential to know. Now you're gonna approach this one right in this 4-note sequence right here, which I talked a lot about on my blues guitar solo lesson last week. But we're going to expand that into a full pentatonic scale like that. But rather than playing that note, we're going to slide into that E note on that G string of the 9th fret. So it's going to look like this: 5, 7, 5, 7, 9. And it's such an easy sequence to remember. We've got 2 notes on one string, 3 notes on the other. Then we were looking at octaves. Let's play that an octave lower, okay? And we found that right here. So 3, 5, 3, 5, 7, okay? Which linked you right into that first one. They just sit right next door to each other in a really just like comfortable musical way, okay? And I had a little jam for you. Just using those 2 patterns. Now, we can expand that into the 3rd zone, starting from this A note. We looked at this octave shape, and that's gonna give us this guy right here. So that's 8, 10, 8, 10, 12, just like that. And we've got the same 5 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And of course, it all comes down to your technique and your phrasing. So go ahead and jam with me. Let's put on the jam track and have a go at this. All 5 notes done in 3 different locations. It's a way more musical way to learn your pentatonic scales. So smash that like button, comment. I'd love to hear from you and what you thought of this lesson, and if you had any questions. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and make sure to check out that 6-course bundle, over 50% off. All my best courses, all my best work, all my best teaching available for you right here today. So again, my name's Will Ripley of willripleyguitar.com. We'll see you in the next lesson.